Hello students, we are going to start the chapter 6, Conservation of Plants and Animals. In this chapter we are going to learn about how to conserve plants and animals, that is wildlife. Before going to that, let us go with some terms. Biosphere. What is biosphere? Biosphere is the part of the earth where the life exists. Okay, again I am repeating the definition. The part of the earth where the life exists is called biosphere. It means it comprises of where the life exists. So we require atmosphere, land and water. If these three are present, so the life can exist. So the atmosphere, land, water bodies like rivers, ponds, oceans, along with the plants and animals, they live there, forms the biosphere. So what are the things which form the biosphere? That is land, atmosphere, water, plants and animals. Okay, so this is biosphere. What is biosphere? The part of the earth where the life exists. Next, biodiversity. What is biodiversity? The variety in the organisms living in a particular region forms the biodiversity of that region. Okay, what is biodiversity? Biodiversity means organism living in a particular region. For example, if I take camels lives in a particular region called as deserts. Okay, similarly, if you see penguins, they live in the oceans where they are found in the polar regions at the poles where the ice is there. So organisms living in a particular region forms the biodiversity of that region. It refers to the number, variety, variability of the living organisms at given point of time. Okay, and it depends upon the climatic conditions. The organisms which we live, they always depends upon the climatic conditions. Like an example, I have told that camels are found in the desert. So camels body, they can bear the climate of that desert. So climatic conditions are responsible for the organisms to live there. Like penguins, they live in the polar region, so they can bear that cold, the climate which is there, that is the cold climate. Deserts have different biodiversity as compared to tropical rainforest. So deserts, the temperature is very high. In the tropical rainforest, there is continuously rain, so the temperature is less there. So their biodiversity is different. Deserts have different biodiversity as compared to tropical rainforest. Next, flora and fauna. What is flora and what is fauna? The plant found in a region is called as flora. It means plant kingdom. They come under flora. Animals found in a region are called as fauna. Fauna is nothing but the animal kingdom. Okay, so flora and fauna are interdependent. Animals, they depends upon plants. Okay, animals, they depends on the plants for the food. So the density and the diversity of flora is closely related to fauna. I have told you that they are interdependent. The density and diversity of flora is closely related to fauna, as plants are the source of food for the herbivorous and indirectly for the carnivorous. I told you that herbivorous animals, animals, they require the plant as the food. Like herbivorous eat plants, and carnivorous eat herbivorous. So indirectly carnivorous also depends upon the plants. So flora and fauna are interdependent. Next, what is ecosystem? Ecosystem is the interaction between the organisms and the environment in the given region forms ecosystem. What is ecosystem? Ecosystem is nothing but interaction between the organisms and environment. It consists of biotic factor and abiotic factor. Biotic factors, all the living elements forms the part of the biotic factor. Means all the living beings like plants, animals, they are biotic, they come under biotic factor. Then non-living elements, they come under abiotic. Okay, so the biotic factors includes plants and animals, whereas abiotic factor includes the non-living elements like soil, water, atmosphere. If you take the example of ecosystem, we can see marine ecosystem, grassland ecosystem, pond ecosystem, because both abiotic and biotic factor. Marine ecosystem consists of abiotic as well as biotic factor. Okay, so like plants in marine, we have aquatic plants, aquatic elements, they come under biotic factor. And Biotic factor, so in abiotic factor, water is non-living things. Okay, the soil which is present in the sea, at the beds of the river or ocean, they come under abiotic factor. So examples of the ecosystem are marine ecosystem, grassland and pond ecosystem. Okay, next, loss of biodiversity. Human activities that threat to the biodiversity are, what are the activities which we do which creates the threat for the biodiversity? The first one is poaching. Poaching means being hunted. Animals are being hunted or trapped to obtain the body parts like skin, fur, bones, ivory, claws, fodders used for the traditional medicines and ornaments. Poaching is nothing but we kill the animals, we hunt the animals for their body parts. Okay, so for the body parts, for the medicine, so that it can be used in the medicines or ornaments or to decorate the homes. Okay, so that is poaching. Deforestation, this is one of the main cause of the threats of the biodiversity. So when forests are destroyed, deforestation means cutting down of the trees. So when forests are destroyed, the animals depending upon the forest lose their habitat and they are also lost. So the deforestation is one of the main cause of loss of biodiversity. So when we cut the when we cut the trees, so what will happen? So animals, what they were depending upon the forest, they lose their habitat. Okay, that is their natural habitat. So we should not cut the trees. Next, pollution of air, water and soil. See, pollution, we are polluting the soil, water and air. Due to these human activities, the plants, the animal species are dying. So we pollute water, we pollute air, we pollute soil. So due to these activities, the animals which are present in it, the plants which are present in it, they cannot bear that pollution, so they die. Next, introduction of the new species of a particular region leads to the new plant species being dominant over the native species. So what we do, we cut the native plant and we try to plant new species plants. So what will happen? The new plant will dominate over the native species. Okay. Next, during deforestation program, monoculture of economically important plant species lead to the loss of biodiversity of particular area. Okay, during the deforestation program, what we do, we plant the same type of plants. So due to this, there is a loss of biodiversity of that particular area. Next, importance of the forest ecosystem. The forest also helps in the formation of rain and soaks up all the heats and pollution. Okay, what means the forest, what the forest do, it helps in the formation of rain. So when we cut, what will happen? Floods will come. So the forest helps in the formation of rain and soaks up all the heats and pollution. Okay, it soaks, formation of rain, it soaks all the pollution. So environment, if we release the harmful gases like carbon dioxide, it takes the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So it helps in clearing the pollution. We use forest products like honey, spices and gums, resin, timber, etc. The minerals for different kinds of metals and the products come from the forest. The minerals they comes from the forest. Minerals and products come from the forest. In rural areas, people are totally dependent upon the forest for the firewoods, medicines and timber. Okay, in the rural areas, people are totally dependent on the forest and firewoods. Next, deforestation. Deforestation is cutting down of trees and destruction of forest on the cutting down of the trees and destruction of forest on the large scale. Okay, such lands are used for the building residential areas, industries and for the mining of minerals. So what we do, we cut down the trees for building the residential areas. See, populations are increasing, so we require more land. So what we do, we cut the trees of the forest so that we can use the land. So deforestation is one of the main cause Okay, so and to build the industries for mining, we destroy the trees, we cut the trees. Increase in the population has a high demand for the food crop, grazing of lands for animals, which has led to clearing of the forest. So increase of the population, I have told you this is one of the main reason that population is increasing. As the population is increasing, more land we require, more food we require. So what we do, we cut down the forest for the residential areas, we have to cut down the forest for the agriculture. Okay, and grazing of the lands for the animals, which has led for the clearing the forest. Next, rise of the population also led to the higher requirement of the timber, wood, fuel and other forestry products like gum, resins, medicines and spices. Okay, see, if the population is increasing, automatically everything increases. We require the requirement of the timber will be increased, wood will be increased for the fuel, and other forestry products also we require more. So what we do, we cut the forest for that. Next, consequences of deforestation. What are the consequences of deforestation? What is the result if we cut the plants? First is desertification. Overgrazing of the animals or removal of vegetation and deforestation leads to the soil erosion. The first is desertification. It means that if we cut the trees, removal of vegetation, or by overgrazing, it leads to the soil erosion. Soil erosion is removal of the topsoil. Okay, removing of the fertile topsoil which exposes the rock within it. Means the topsoil will get removed, and due to which the rocks which are present inside, they come on the top, and these rocks do not support the growth of vegetation, leading to the formation of deserts. Next, floods. Due to the removal of the vegetation from the land, the rain does not infiltrate. Plants, I told you, trees, they help to soak the water. When the rain will fall, it helps, the roots will soak the water, and due to which the ground level water also increases. But if there are no trees, the roots are not present, then what will happen? Then it will not soak the water, and these excess of water will run off, which get collected, and they leads to the flooding. The flood also enhances the soil erosion, as there are no plants, roots and to hold the soil in the place. So we don't have the plants or roots to hold the water. So due to this the floods will come. Drought is the due to the removal of the trees, there is an imbalance in the water cycle, causing the less rainfall. Okay, no trees, so less rainfall it leads to the drought. Next, decrease in the rainfall and the water table. The roots of the plants hold the soil, and the water percolates into the deeper part of the earth, creating the water table. I have told you the first that if there is a decrease in the decrease in the rainfall, ground level water will also go deep. Okay, when there are fewer trees, the runoff water creates the flood. Okay, the ground level water decreases, no trees, no roots to hold the water, the water will come in the form of flood. They will not penetrate inside the earth. Next, soil erosion. If there are trees, the trees will hold the soil. When the rain will come, the topsoil will not go with the rain. So if there are no trees, there will be a soil erosion. The topsoil will be removed, and the topsoil, either it will be removed by the wind or through the water, so which creates the loss of infertile soil. Topsoil is a fertile land, means topsoil is the fertile for we can plant more and more trees. If there is no topsoil, then we cannot plant the trees. Increase in greenhouse gases. Plant absorbs carbon dioxide during the photosynthesis. We know that the plants absorbs the carbon dioxide. If there are no plants and trees, what will happen? We release the carbon dioxide through the vehicles. We burn many things, and the carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere. If there are no plants, then the carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere will increase, due to which the temperature will increase. And if the temperature increases, that is called as global warming. If global warming is there, the ice which are present in the polar at the poles, they will melt, which increases the level of the sea water. Next, conservation of forest. How to conserve the forest? The first one is afforestation, planting of trees. We can conserve by planting of trees. Biological control is, see, some insects and pests, they damage the trees of the forest, where the natural enemies of insects and pests are helpful, like rodents, birds. What they do, they eat this pests and insect which feeds on the plants. Then they can control this rodents, birds, frogs, they can control the insects and pests, due to which the plants are not affected. Preventing forest fires. During the summer month, as the temperature rises, there may be a forest fire, so we can control the forest fire by spraying the water or the sand from the air. Next, social forestry. It is the concept in which the barren and the unused land, which is common to the community, is used to grow trees. So barren land, barren land means the land on which it's a wasteland. So we have to use the barren land for growing more and more trees. Next, okay, wildlife includes a kind of animals of herbivorous, carnivorous and omnivorous. In wildlife, all types of animals like herbivorous, carnivorous and omnivorous all come under, they include in the wildlife. These animals are directly or indirectly dependent on the plants for the food. We know that these animals, for the food on which they depend upon the plant. Carnivorous depends upon herbivorous, which acts as the food source for them. Carnivorous, they are dependent on the herbivorous. They don't eat the plant directly, but they indirectly eat the plant through the herbivorous. If one group of the plants and animals are affected, then it disturbs the food chain and food web. So one of the thing will be affected, then it will affect the food chain. Next, what is the major threats to the wildlife? Destruction of habitat by deforestation for constructing the roads. Okay, see, we are cutting the plants. So what will happen? We are cutting the trees. What will happen? Due to which the animals, they don't have the place to live. The forest is the place for living of these wildlife. So it will spoil their habitat. For why we cut the trees? For constructing either roads, for constructing either railways, track or dams. Over exploitation of the animals for the commercial use of their parts like skin and bones. What we do, we hunt the animals for their skin, for their skin, for their bones, we hunt the animals for the teeth, so that the ornaments can be made, okay, medicines can be made. So this is one of the major threat. Human and encroachment on the forest land on the commercial and agriculture purposes. What we do, as the population increasing, so we require more and more land for the commercial use. We require more and more buildings. So where we go we shift to the forest. We cut the trees so that residential areas can be made and for the agriculture purpose. Next, destruction of the aquatic habitat by the pollution and various other means makes the water unfit for the fish and aquatic animal to survive. So we are doing the water pollution, so due to which the aquatic plants and animals are dying. Natural calamities like floods, epidemics and wildfires. So this is also one of the threat of the wildlife. Natural calamities, if plants are not there, floods will come and it will spoil. Many of the animals just can't bear that floods and they can die in the floods. So this is a threat. Then how to save the wildlife? So we have to put a strict wild protection law has to be implemented to prevent hunting and to prevent the poaching. Captive breeding programs to increase the population of depleting and endangered species. So we have to think of the programs so that the endangered and the animals which are going to be finished can be saved. Protection of natural habitat by setting up the wildlife sanctuaries and national parks. We have to set up the wildlife sanctuaries and the national parks so that the animals can be protected. Early identification of population declines the wildlife by the wildlife census, which enable to undertake a remedial measures in the timely manner. See, identification of the we have to watch, or we have to put an eye that which animal is going to be finished. So we have to take timely measures, remedial measures we have to take, so that these species do not do not die. Okay, so educating the people about the important methods of conservation of wildlife. We have to educate the people to conserve the wildlife. Creating awareness in the people, stop purchasing the wildlife product like claw, skin, ivory, etc. We have to stop the products which are prepared by the animals. So in this way we can save the wildlife. Next, IUCN. IUCN is the International Union of Conservation of Nature and Resources. IUCN is the world's main authority on the conservation status of species. They look after how to conserve the species. It is periodically list and give the information about the species of plants and animals that face threats of various kinds. So they give us the information that this animal is common, is under endangered or extinct. They are going to give us the information. So how could they give the information? So they prepare a red list or red data book through which we can through which the informations are provided. Now, categories what they give by IUCN. Extinct species, the species not having single individual which existing on the earth. So this is extinct species, means which has the animals which have completely died, they don't exist in the nature, like example dinosaur or dodo. Next, endangered species. These species are in the danger of extinction due to the steep decline in their number. So these species, endangered species, are the species which are at the ending stage, that they can in the endangered stage, that they can extinct. Vulnerable species, the species that face the high risk of becoming the endangered due to the adverse factors. So these are the species which face the high risk, okay, for becoming the endangered. Threatened species, species whose numbers are fastly declining and are likely to become endangered. These are also threatened, means which are going to be endangered, means which are whose populations is declining continuously. Least concerned species, that species that are widespread and are at the lowest risk. Okay, some species are there more and they are at the lowest risk of endangered. Rare species, the species whose population is small and their presence is restricted to only few regions, are called as rare species. And endemic species, the species of plants and animals that are unique and exclusively found in the particular area, they are called as endemic species. So I am going to end my session till here. Thank you.